Dear Abby Normals,
Welcome to Deeply Disturbing Things.
the podcast.
I'm Macy,
And I'm Naomi.
And I'm Sarah.
and we are three anxious counselors who like to talk about deeply disturbing things.
Yay, let's dive in.
I get to go first today. I'm a little sleep deprived. I'm gonna do my best.
I'm sleep deprived too, so we're all on the same wavelength.
All right. So I'm actually really surprised I didn't do this topic like at any other point.
Oh,
Until now.
Yeah, just knowing me and the type of topics that I seem to enjoy doing a lot. Okay, so I'm going to talk about, drumroll, farting.
Hey, my drum roll was too loud. What is it?
Farting.
Farting.
Farting. Okay. I was like, did I hear correctly?
You did.
Yes.
And,
okay.
and it's something I can't wait to talk about because it's something that we all kind of hide socially.
Well, a fox smells
Here.
his own hole first.
Whoever smelt it, dealt it.
I've never heard the foxhole one
I never
before.
heard
I've heard smelt it, dealt it.
Yeah.
Okay, raise your hand if you fart.
Well, everybody farts, right?
You have to admit
most
it.
people.
Right. Okay. We have
But
to
mine smell like very pleasant.
foundation.
I had
Very
a
pleasant.
friend one time who, well, it was like my husband's friend's girlfriend who said she didn't poop. Like she was really like trying to like say that.
Tell you on it.
And I would, because she was embarrassed to talk about it in front of all of us. And I'm like, I think you need to get medically checked. Like, that's not okay.
It's got to go somewhere.
Yeah, you got to get that checked out.
Well, and pooping and farting are different things. So maybe we just need to establish that.
Well, what
right
about a
off the
shart? That's kind of a half
That's
situation.
it.
No, that's a poop. That's a poop with projectiles.
It's like when you think you're going to fart, but it's actually some poop.
Well, yeah, it has more to do with the urgency that you feel behind the poop, I'm guessing, and sometimes that can feel like a
A
fart.
shart is half shit, half fart.
That part.
And yeah, but like, is it really though?
Yeah, it is.
Is it really though?
Yeah.
What
it
else would it,
is.
what are you trying to say? It is.
What I'm saying is like, can it be, I mean, it sounds, a shart to me is like you have almost like explosive diarrhea, or like you aren't controlling and it comes out. It's not necessarily triggered by a fart.
No, it's a fool. It fools you. It's
Oh, I see
faux
what you're
fart.
saying. So you go to fart.
Like there
and
is
you
fart
fart.
with it, but you think it's just fart and that it's
Right.
safe to release. And then
Right.
other things come with it. And then
Right.
you're like, damn it.
Probably,
And that's why you always should carry clean underwear with you wherever you go,
In case of sharding.
in your
in case of
bag.
sharding or
Okay.
bad periods.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
the world's oldest recorded fart joke
Oh, yes. Give it to me.
was in 1900 BCE. This quip was delivered in this specific way. Something which has never occurred since the time immemorial. A young woman did not fart in her husband's lap. So it uses a double negative to say that young woman farted in her husband's lap. That's the first fart joke.
I need to hear that one more time because my brain is not.
Just think, so it is oddly worded.
It's a
so
quip.
it's a double
So
negative quip. Yeah.
Okay.
there's some dryness to it.
Yes.
It wasn't a shart.
It wasn't a shart.
Something
Sure.
which has never occurred since time immemorial. A young woman did not fart in her husband's lap.
You ever been hotboxed? I hate that.
I mean, not recently.
No, it's called a Dutch oven.
Dutch oven,
That's the
yeah.
same
Oh,
thing.
hotbox is marijuana. Sorry.
Yeah.
Right.
It all happened in the same era of my life. I probably had actually a hotbox Dutch oven situation too.
Like all of it at once.
There's probably a lot of gases going on.
And you're too high to tell.
A lot going on under those covers.
So if you've ever thought, gee, does anyone not fart? No, everybody farts. So if they swear that they do, they're lying to you. They do fart. It's basically, so if you breathe, you're a human being. Great job. You're alive. And what happens is the gas is basically that byproduct of the air that you swallow when you're breathing, and it mixes with generally healthy bacteria, other organic matter in your intestines, and then comes out your butt.
Can I make a statement?
Please do.
I do not like smelling other people's farts.
Oh, we're going to talk about that a little bit.
I do not.
Yeah.
I wonder what
I
the
do not
percentage.
like walking into a cloud that somebody has recently left.
I'll just jump into it right now.
Yeah.
So they say that people, that whole, like, you like the smell of your own fart or whatever that thing saying is, smell of your own brand. So what they say happens in your brain is that when you're about ready to fart, right? Like you're anticipating it, it's coming, and your brain actually does like this like dampening of what it's going to process and take in, because it already knows what's going to happen. Where so Naomi, if you were sitting next to me and I farted, my brain's going to process like, oh, I know what it is. And so when I smell it, it's not going to smell as bad to me as it's going to you, because your brain isn't expecting it. So it experiences it as a new thing that's happening, and it takes in more information, and you're going to smell it more than I would.
So if you announced it ahead of time, then I would find it more enjoyable.
Your brain just might not be as shock valued, or you may not find it as gross, possibly. Maybe.
Jury's out.
Yeah, jury's out on that one. That's
You have to do a
debatable. Debatable. So the medical term for a fart is a flatus. Flatus. Flatus.
Like flatulence.
Yes, flatus. So it's basically Latin, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, Latin. It means the act of blowing
out your butt.
Right.
I have one more thought about smelling your own fart. I would also think that it's one of those things where you want to be able to smell what's going on to make sure that things are okay with your body, or that, I don't know, that maybe
like a health assessment.
Yeah, kind of like a health assessment. Exactly. Yeah. So that's more of like that reason to partake.
I mean, I don't know how accurate that is. So we'll get to the smell part here in a second. But I mean, that's a fair guess.
Maybe I shouldn't have had that cheese.
Oh, the broccoli.
Oh, I mean, and maybe, right, because of certain things that you eat.
Yeah.
So we fart about 14 times a day average.
Whoa, I've never done a count.
I know. Now
I feel like I need to do a tally now.
It feels high to me, but I'm like, well, maybe not. Because they say like oftentimes like you may not even be aware that it's happening. Like if you're active and like doing things.
Based on what you eat too.
Right.
You have worse days than others.
And it's pretty normal too to have up to like 21 farts a day. Right. So
what's the most?
I definitely want to know where I stand in these
actually
stats.
Legitimately don't know what's the most farts.
I know. I'm gonna start keeping a notepad
record?
with me.
You have to count tallies. Oh, there's one. Yep.
There's one.
So
how do you judge one? Because sometimes you can split it up.
Well, and you may not know when it's happening. So they say that it can sneak or it can leak. So
that's right.
Aside from just the ones where you're like, I farted, there's like ones that sneak up on you.
I'll be vulnerable here and say once there was one that woke me up. It was so loud. Like I woke up from it. I woke up with like hearing the echo of it.
That's great.
Like, damn. Good thing I wasn't having a sleepover.
A new guy with you.
I would deny everything.
It was all you.
The whole like silent but deadly. I know I've been taunted with that in the past at some point or another. Like
yeah,
silent but deadly. So
is that true?
It has more to do with, again, what was eaten. So for the smell, so 99% of what makes up a fart has no smell. So it's made up of nitrogen, oxygen, carbon dioxide, hydrogen, and methane. All of those are odorless gases. So a fart in its essence and most purest form, 99% of it, has
That was very poetic.
no smell. This is science. This is biology. And what happens though is that what you eat is kind of that last thing in the mix. So broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, dairy products create sulfur, and sulfur is what actually smells. So not everything you eat contains high amounts of sulfur, making it smell. So you may actually probably fart a lot and not smell it at all if you don't eat a lot of those specific foods. So that's where I'm like, health wise, it's maybe more of an indicator of what you're eating than if you're sick or not. That may be more of the sharding aspect. Okay. Can you hold in a fart? Have you held in a fart before?
Yeah, I think you can.
Yeah, if it's like a
Does it go away?
an inappropriate.
Maybe it turns into a burp.
That is actually, yeah, that's actually true, by the way.
Better
Okay,
out
so
than in. Shrek always
first of
says.
all,
Up
the
and
whole
down.
thing is you can't hold in a fart. Right, you can, yes, but really what happens is it's just kind of moving around in the intestines. So typically what happens is then you forget about it. Your sphincter loosens up a bit and you have a silent fart, or you hold it up and it builds up pressure and then you fart. It's actually way worse than it would have been originally if you had just let it out in the first place. So that's typically what happens. Like it's going to come out.
Better to like sneak a squeak.
Right. So Claire Collins, professor of nutrition and dietetics, I was right, at the University of Newcastle, said holding on too long means that buildup of intestinal gas will eventually escape via an uncontrollable fart. So, maybe don't hold it in. It might make it worse. So if you continue to hold that fart in, it can leak out of your mouth.
Through a burp.
Yes. So holding it in for too long can mean the gases will get reabsorbed into your circulation system and actually leak out of your mouth.
Blech.
A nice mouth air biscuit. So it's the same gases, just out the mouth. Okay.
But
So,
I have a question.
yes.
So why is the smell different coming out the mouth than out the butt? Because of the intestines are all like, bacteria and
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
other.
because you're baking brownies one end, not the other end.
well, it has, so yeah, I mean, probably that too. But I think it has more to do with, so what's being reabsorbed isn't maybe necessarily the sulfur and stuff, because that's going to come out. I don't know. That's a good question. Some people burp and it stinks, so I don't know if that's related or not.
It's definitely a different bad smell though.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's definitely not out your butt.
But yeah, like you were saying, there's poop stuck in there, so it probably
Right.
collects that too. I don't know.
And maybe it's so diluted by the time, like, it goes back through the circulation system, like maybe it gets diluted in that process. I don't know. To be explored further.
It's fascinating.
It is fascinating. I didn't know that at all. Okay, Shakespeare had fart jokes in his writing. So Comedy of Errors, the character Dromio of Ephesus says the following: a man may break a word with you, sir, and words are but wind. And break it in your face so he break it not behind.
Good one, shaky.
Too far or
Here-
not too far?
Yes, that is the question. Another one by Geoffrey Chaucer. had a character that said, "Let fly a fart as loud as it had been a thunderclap" in the Canterbury Tales. And Mark Twain, Catcher in the Rye. There's a like farts are talked about a lot in
Farts are funny.
Yeah.
Farts are funny. Some would even say farts are romantic.
Mm,
No?
I wouldn't go that far. I'd say funny, yes. Like you can't help but laugh when.
So James Joyce, who wrote Ulysses, another classic, talked about farting a lot. And he would write, they said his were more romantic. It was often like him writing about his wife. In one letter in 1909, he used the word fart a total of 10 times in a letter, and mostly in like an X-rated context for the times. He said, "I think I would know Nora's fart anywhere. I think I could pick hers out in a room full of farting women." He described it as a rather girlish noise. So it's kind of more cutesy, like it's an identifier, and like
How did she feel about that?
Nora had no words to say. Just
I want to hear
Just
Nora's
gasp,
side of the
gasp.
story.
Believe it or not, farting can be a fetish.
I'm
not
sure.
shocked. I'm not
Right.
shocked. About
Right,
that.
right. That was my reaction as well.
Especially
So
after you romanticized it, and then I was already thinking.
your brain was right
yeah,
there.
Yeah.
So in 2013, in the Archives of Sexual Behavior, there was a article written about individuals who are aroused by farting flatulence. It's known as eproctophilia.
Hmm.
And that's as far as I went
Well,
looking into
passing
that. I
of
didn't
the
want to
wind.
Google it. I didn't want to go there. Okay, so this is pretty relevant to counseling. One woman who was having obsessive thoughts about farting, that she was going to fart and not have control over it, was given exposure homework to try to fart as hard as she could.
I don't know if, see, that's the thing with the
That's when it
sharting
turns
and the
into a shark.
farting. I don't know if you want to like try
Dangerous.
hard. You don't want to
Dangerous.
push. Yeah, it seems risky.
It was helpful to her.
I know, but the
Risky,
pushing,
yes.
I don't think we need to really like
Interesting.
forcing it. Just let it out. You don't have to push.
Do people have fart phobias? Like, are they scared? Is it more of like kind of that lady was scared to?
It was
do it in
more
front
probably
of-
the social fear of farting. It would be my guess. Like
Uh-huh.
intrusive thoughts, like, oh, I'm gonna fart and won't be able to control it.
Uh-huh.
Then it was like, try not to control it, try to fart all the time, that sort of thing. Yeah.
Interesting.
The Canadian Parliament argued on the floor about the word fart because somebody said, what did they say? Somebody said, "Why does the government treat Alberta like a fart in the room that nobody wants to talk about or acknowledge?" And like it made people really upset. And they said it was distinctly unparliamentary to say the word F-A-R-T, and she spelt it out. So
But why don't people like? Why is there such stigma around it?
Good question.
because it's probably the butt.
Nobody wants to own up to it. I mean, usually,
I mean, we
some people
all
are.
do it.
Some people are proud. Like, yeah,
It
that
rem-
was me.
Right. Right.
You
It
know,
reminds
loud
me
and
of, like, the
proud,
sex topic,
as it were.
right?
Mhm.
Like some people are ashamed of it, and maybe that's cultural too.
I say a lot of people. Probably the most normal place I've been where it's like a normal thing is like yoga world.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I would still giggle that because I don't go all the
Yeah.
time, so that would make me laugh.
I mean, because there's a passing wind pose.
Oh, I'm gonna talk about some
It
things.
does make me laugh when I hear people fart in yoga still.
No,
Like,
I'm way too immature. When I used to teach yoga, I had to have the lights
I
way
have the-
down so nobody could see my face.
I have an idea of why people, I think, become ashamed, because since it smells bad frequently, and then other people around you would be like, ew,
React.
and kind
Yeah.
of like it's like a rejection, almost like there's a rejection piece of it. And so
Right.
then people are like, I don't want to be rejected.
Right.
No, people want to belong.
Yeah.
They wanna belong. That's why
Nobody
Gerald
wants to be
Ford,
ostracized and embarrassed.
Gerald Ford, our 38th president of the United States, when he farted, it was documented that he would blame one of his Secret Service agents, saying, quote, "Jesus, was that you? Show some class."
Oh my God, that's totally my style.
Like blame the dog.
Or the cat.
Yeah.
I have a
Yeah.
stinky butted cat.
Obi.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Obi. Yeah, it's
Is it
Obi.
Obi?
I didn't even know cats
But-
could fart until Obi.
Most animals fart. One boss in Australia got sued for farting too much. So his employee said that he would come around his office and like basically torture him with farts. They did end up saying that didn't rise to the level of harassment. In Germany, there's been they'll fine you potentially up to 900 euros for farting at police. There was a whole trial called the Crazy Toot trial
Oh.
that had 23 law enforcement officials involved and had a huge debate over wasting public spending.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Performance art. So some have turned farting into by sucking air into this is Joseph Pajol. He would entertain his customers by sucking air into his rectum and expelling it in a way that he could make different instrumental sounds. And he then started traveling and doing this on the road. And let's see here. There's England's Mr. Methane, aka the King of Farts.
I've never been brave enough to light a fart on fire.
Ooh, that's like a legit thing. And farts do show up, or can show up in the cold. Like you can see a fart in the cold because of the gases that are released. If you don't have.
Remember Ace Ventura? He would like talk out of his butt.
Yeah. Yep. So in 1991, gastroenterologists published a paper that looked at how much space a fart takes up. So to get to the bottom of the problem, they fed volunteers 200 grams of baked beans in addition to their regular food, then used rectal catheters to measure the flatulence over the next 24 hours. They determined that the volume of the average fart, regardless of gender, body size, time of day, was between 33 and 125 milliliters, with a median of 90 milliliters, or about 3 fluid ounces. That's what you can take on an airplane. Roughly the volume of an airport-approved travel bottle. So there you go. That's how much little fart is in there.
I think you can get a fart in a can.
Oh, I believe that. I'm sure
Like buy
that
it
exists.
at the store.
What store do you go to where you can buy a fart in the can?
Like a
Just
prank,
the-
like a prank shop.
Probably.
Mm-hmm.
Beans, good for your heart. The more you eat, the more you fart. The more you fart, the more you say, I eat pizza today.
So that's actually a thing. So beans do actually make you a little
Yeah.
gassier.
That's why they have Beano.
They did studies. It's like initially you get a little gassier, but the more you eat over time, that then levels out to normal. So it's not like a constantly like farting more and more and more. But you'll have a little surge from their research, at least tapers off though over time. Okay, so there is no scientific evidence that links how loud a fart is to how it smells or vice versa. So just because you have a loud fart doesn't mean it'll smell. Okay, so anatomical expertise of a nation's they took 9-year-olds. Okay, that's how they were measuring this, the loudness of a fart and its resulting smell. Just there really is no research to support it. I don't know, have you had a loud fart that didn't smell? I think so. We're being
I
revealing.
haven't really done enough research in this area.
You might need to get that notebook out and
I
add.
need a long-term study.
Yeah, right.
Cousins have loud farts and they don't always smell.
Yeah. Sometimes I think that would probably be more than normal.
I bet some people, like can just do it like a musical instrument and like control their sphincter so much that you can like really draw it out and get a good squeal out of it.
Yeah.
Or some people are maybe just don't have as much control there and it just like sneaks out. Boop.
Farts do smell worse in the shower. This is true because there's nothing to absorb. They say that your clothes do absorb some of the smell. So if you're not wearing clothes, that's one thing. And they say that there's evidence that shower steam actually enhances your sense of smell. So you're going to be smelling more of it than maybe you normally
Or like a bathtub fart.
Oh, like, yeah. Like that.
Like really bad.
Hot tub bubbles.
Did you know that fish don't fart?
No.
And so fish in northern Mexico feed on algae and can accidentally ingest the gas bubbles. This can become so dangerous if the air finds its way into their intestines. Fish fart. Birds don't fart. So the fish have to fart to get it out or they will actually die. Like that's how crippling that is. But yeah, birds don't fart and sloths don't fart. I thought that was interesting. Yeah. So one of the most notorious animal farters that take up 1 to 3% of our whole global methane emissions. What do you think they are? Everyone says cows.
That's not cows.
It's not cows.
Why do cows get blamed for like a lot of the world's
problems? Yeah, this is 1 to 3% of global methane emissions, and it is
elephant
termite.
What?
Right.
Termites fart?
Yes, so they may be small, but termites live in colonies.
Weird.
Millions. So when each termite lets off a half microgram of methane per day, it adds up to about 20 million tons of methane per year.
It's very interesting.
Right. You wouldn't think that at all.
Nope.
But yeah, let's see here. Octopuses don't fart. Soft shell clams don't fart. Sea anemones don't fart. Birds, sloths. But most
do they say why? Like, is there something going on in there?
Do fart?
Is there something in their digestive system that's different, like a different setup? Did it talk more about it?
I mean, I didn't. I'm sure there is. I didn't dive into that specifically. Yeah, they do have a pill that can supposedly make a stinky fart smell sweet. I've never used it, so I can't claim it. But there's things like rose, violet, ginger, lily, different.
What about chickens? Do chickens?
You want your fart to smell like chickens?
Birds.
Oh, I just want to know if chickens fart. Are they under the bird umbrella? Because they have such a weird. We talked about the chicken hole has one hole. So now I want to know what their farting situation is.
They're farting. Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, what's the situation?
I'll do a quick follow-up. There is also a fart neutralizing underwear. I'll just put that up. Okay, I'm gonna find this last thing here. So, do chickens fart? Chickens can't fart. Why do they? They have a digestive system that moves food and air through the intestines. That's the thing. So if the air goes through the intestines, that creates a fart. Chickens pass. Yeah, so air gets trapped inside.
Have you ever farted sitting down and it went out one place and into another?
Are you being specifically vague?
This is a family-friendly show.
Is it?
It happens. I'm just gonna say
explicit. I think that
is a great topic. This is a great topic.
Yeah.
I have a show and tell.
What? Are you gonna fart right now?
No, but I do have a show and tell for you guys. So I'll go get it if you. I didn't.
Is it related to fart?
Yes.
What are you gonna go get?
You'll see. Just talk amongst yourselves. I'll be right back.
Underwear with skid marks? I don't know what she's gonna go get.
Okay, all right, go ahead. Go. All right, show and tell us.
Maybe she has a fart in a can. Oh, I bet she's gonna get fart putty. Macy, you're all frozen.
Maybe, just on hand. My internet's unstable and I'm not sure why.
Okay, are you ready?
Is it fart putty?
Are you excited?
Yeah.
A fart gun, that's great.
It's a minion. It's from the Minions.
I was thinking like a Minions gun.
Does it shoot out a smell too?
Yeah, it's, well, I think when we first got it, it has like a banana scent to it. But yeah, we bought this at in Disney World.
I love it. I thought you were getting fart putty. I was wrong.
That's awesome.
Oh, yeah. There's my
I
show.
love it.
So you may now be asking yourself, well, what can I do about some of these things? How to make yourself fart so you don't get all pent up and uncomfortable. So yoga, like you mentioned, is super good to help you pass gas. So there.
There you go.
Carbonated beverages help. Chewing gum may help. Dairy products may help.
Oh, I can't.
Fatty or fried
That's-
foods.
That does opposite. Dairy.
Fiber.
Yeah,
rich
exactly.
fruits, and
I'll get the
some
bubble
artificial
guts.
sweetener. Okay, so if you're on the other side, if you need to fart less, here's some ideas. Cutting down on these specific foods might help. High in sulfur foods. Here we go. Cauliflower, cabbage, broccoli, kale, Brussels sprouts, artichokes, asparagus, apples, pears, peaches, beer, carbonated drinks.
I've heard
Grape
beer
foods,
does
cheese,
give
ice
people beer
cream.
farts.
Yeah. So some people like dairy foods aren't typically causes, but if you are lactose intolerant, that can make that happen.
Yeah.
Chewing slowly is helpful as well with a closed mouth. Trying to have less air swallowed can help you have less gas. There you go. It's a natural body function, and it's let it out. We already Naomi, you did the podcast episode about human combustion.
Spontaneous human combustion.
Yes, and maybe somebody held a fart in too long and closed their mouth and they exploded.
Maybe that's what happened. Blame it on the farts.
I have one more disturbing thought on
About
this
farts?
subject. Yeah, so my stepdad,
BRB?
he's a radiologist, and
Uh-huh.
he had to x-ray a dead body before, and I believe it was cut open, or like the autopsy was already happening, and so he said that was one of the worst smells that he'd ever encountered, was going in to like an exposed dead body, and it has a lot to do with all the gases and everything have now been released, and so I can't even imagine that it's like basically like a fart times however many, because it's just so
I have a related story. When I was in biology class, in the back, they had the cadavers in the bags, and on occasion they would sit up on their own because of the gases.
Oh.
And it was as freaky as it sounds.
Wait, and
Farting cadavers.
which class was this, you said?
Biology. So there were cadavers in the back. They were in like black bags, and on occasion they'd like go like this.
Actual bodies, actual dead bodies.
Actual human.
School did you go to?
I was thinking animals, but you guys were
no humans. Yeah, it wasn't my class, but it was the same. We shared the same lab. I didn't take that class, but
with the medical students.
They were in these like cases with glass windows, and on occasion they go.
No, that's
they would move, yeah, on their own. And the teacher said it was because gases in the bodies.
That is terrifying.
No. How would you be sure?
Yeah, I know.
I would want to check.
You can never be sure. You can never be sure.
Never be sure. All right, your
cool.
turn.
This is such a fun, lighthearted topic. I hate to switch to mine. Mine's so dark.
That's fine.
Is
Light
it?
and airy. That's how I like to keep it.
It's just that sound just funny.
Arts are funny.
No, farts are funny. Okay, my topic actually ties into many, many topics we've already had, interestingly, or maybe not so interestingly. Okay, I'm going to talk about snuff films.
Oh,
I know, a big old 180 here. I got most of my info from Fangoria and Snopes. Who Snopes? I always ask. Here is the very specific definition for snuff films. They're considered films in which a person is killed on camera. The death is premeditated with the purpose of being filmed in order to make money. When I was growing up, there was these Faces of Death VHS tapes.
I've seen those.
That sometimes you'd go to someone's house after school and like they'd be like, oh, pop it in. Yes, I've caught a couple scenes here and there. So I have it in my mind, but I didn't like it. But those are not snuff films because it's capturing a death, but it wasn't premeditated.
I see.
So most of those are accidental deaths caught on film. At least the ones that I saw.
Yeah, I saw one of those at school once, and that freaked me out on some internet search.
So just to differentiate, like what a snuff film is, so it's somebody's death caught on film, but it's premeditated, and it's for the purpose of the film. Like you're making the film to capture this death and to make money off it. So there's been lots of real deaths, unfortunately, caught on film. A famous one is in the Rolling Stones concert film Gimme Shelter. They had hired the Hells Angels to do security, and the Hells Angels in the film are caught on camera beating on a concert goer. And it was later determined that he actually was killed in that scene. But because those deaths weren't planned, that's not considered a snuff film.
Okay, got it.
And other deaths on video, like perhaps we've seen some people being kidnapped and perhaps beheaded. That's not considered a snuff film because it's done to fulfill an ideology and not to earn money. So snuff films are specifically a for-profit endeavor.
Okay.
So the term snuff is difficult to trace exactly to its source, but it's thought it came out in the late 60s related to Charles Manson family. So I did a topic on Charlie Manson because Manson and his followers stole an NBC News truck that was loaded with film equipment. And there was a rumor that they had filmed a snuff film and then buried it in the desert, but nothing was ever found. But that name, snuff film, had stuck. So then later, there was a filmmaking team, Michael and Roberta Findley. They decided to go to South America and shoot a Manson-themed hippie cult slasher flick called Slaughter. So it wasn't apparently this like great film, but it really did give someone else in the film exploitation market the idea. And so what he did was hire somebody to film another 5 minutes of footage and paste it on the end of Slaughter. And they did it in a way with like camera angle switching, making it look like they just let the camera roll and they were like done filming. And so it was catching like some behind the scenes accidental thing where somebody gets killed. and then they let like the film kind of run out to make it seem like the only reason to stop was that they ran out of film. So that film is actually called Snuff now. It got renamed, and it's really marketed as being the bloodiest thing that ever happened in front of a camera. The picture, they said, could never be shown. Filmed in South America, where life is cheap. Isn't that horrible?
Mm-hmm.
So even though it wasn't a real life snuff film, and I haven't seen it, but I guess it's pretty obvious that it's fake, people really were curious enough that they went and saw it, and women's organizations ended up protesting it, which, no press is bad press, so that really just added to the allure of it.
Mm-hmm.
So since this time, like late 60s, where this term snuff came up, there have been all kinds of these like hoaxes, fakes, and investigations that have not ever turned up an actual snuff film. I was so surprised by this because I had always thought it was a real thing. Like there were snuff films out there. And if you just, knew to access it, you knew the right people,
So there
you
are,
could see
so
one.
like they
It's a lot of them are fake, but there's got to be some real ones.
According to my research, not one actual true snuff film has ever been discovered, which I was really surprised and shocked by.
interesting.
So there's been lots of these like fake ones though, and two that are often cited are also from South America. One is called Snake Feast, about young girls being eaten by a giant snake, and the other is called Gator Bait 10. I love these names, in which 10 girls or young women are being torn apart by a pack of alligators. So no evidence of either of these films exists. So there's a lot of hearsay and rumors and this word of mouth that these films exist out there, but there's been no proof that's been found.
Weird.
So
I would just assume that there would be something out there on the internet.
On the black.
you would think.
dark web.
So to tie into Macy, your topic from a couple weeks ago, in the 80s, there's a film called Cannibal Holocaust, which is supposed to be super gross and nauseating.
Mhm.
That does not show human deaths, but does show animal deaths. But it's purported to be showing human deaths. And this is, I guess, the first found footage genre film.
Mhm.
Where it follows a group of explorers who go into the jungle, like Blair Witch Project, where you like
That's what I was thinking
find the
about.
film later and like you
Mhm.
watch it and you're like, what happened to them?
Mhm.
There was another one with aliens. That was a good. What was that one? That found footage. Asher, what was that found footage one with the aliens? What? Cloverfield. Did you ever see that one?
Oh, yes. Yes.
It's good too, similar, where you're watching film that supposedly was found later
Mhm.
and finding out what happened to them. So even though that film, Cannibal Holocaust, didn't show any humans being killed, people really thought that it was just completely uncivilized. The director was arrested. He was charged with obscenity related to the animal death. And a French magazine suggested the film was genuine snuff. And so they really did this deep dive investigation. But when they've discovered the murder victims were actually alive, then the charges were dropped. So lots of people thought that one was real, and then it turned out not to be. There was this Japanese guinea pig film series, which I'm a little offended as a guinea pig lover that title is used for these films. And I guess they featured 45 minutes of a guy dressed as a samurai dismembering and disemboweling a young woman And apparently it was so realistic that Charlie Sheen, who came into possession of a copy of the film, thought it was real and turned it over to the FBI, who investigated.
Hmm.
But it was determined that it was not real. So
It makes me
you can
wonder
make
about
things look very realistic.
It makes me wonder about Charlie Sheen, because why was he getting a copy of this? He was probably out there getting all his weird films, and then he'd been
Right.
watching them for a long time and like, this one seems really realistic. I better turn this one in. But
Mm. Like, why that one?
because he knows the difference, like, because he'd been watching a lot of that. I've just heard weird things about Charlie Sheen, so I don't know. Have you guys
Yeah,
heard-
so there's I've heard some stuff. What's
Kind of
his
related.
cute ex-wife's name? Denise something?
Yeah,
From Denise Richards from
Mhm.
that. She's in that really good film Wild something.
mhm.
Wild, was it Wild
Wild
Things or
Things?
Wow.
is that what it's called?
I think so.
Yeah, that was a good film.
Mhm.
So lots of these films that are so realistic that they're actually investigated and people are really upset, but they turn out to be fake. Okay, Macy. Macy, you did a story on Leonard Lake and Charles Ng, serial killers. They filmed themselves raping and torturing several of their victims, but because they didn't film the actual murders, those are not considered snuff films.
Oh, okay.
See, I thought that that's what snuff films were. It had to be connected with some kind of sexual deviance and possibly rape ending in murder, not just
And
murder film.
yeah. And I think commonly that is the conception that there is a sexual aspect to it, sexually related torture, abuse, culminating in a killing. But there just hasn't been that evidence ever. It's like such a strong urban legend that I just fully believed that it was real, that they existed out there.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, Macy, another one of your topics.
Oh, sorry, I'm having technical difficulties off the side here. I don't know.
Off the side.
I'll wait till the children leave before I talk
I
about
know,
what I'm
that's why.
saying.
Sorry, hold on.
No, this is not kid friendly. What I'm about to say.
Go.
I'm trying.
Okay.
I'm trying.
All right, we're good. He had to
Oh my
get
gosh,
something
your
in
little
here.
mini me. He's so cute.
Thank you.
Okay. Macy, you're gonna have a remembrance of one of your topics here in a minute.
Okay.
The closest video to snuff whose existence is confirmed is the video called One Lunatic, One Ice Pick.
Oh,
Macy, do you
Yes.
remember Don't Fuck with Cats
Yeah,
documentary and
don't
the murder of June Lin, which got completely overlooked and minimized in that documentary, even though it was the single most horrifying thing that occurred in that story.
Was the yeah.
Yeah,
That's
it got just
horrible
glossed
story.
over. And
Mhm.
so Mason and I both watched this documentary and we were both just disturbed for so many reasons. But one of them was this horrific murder of this individual, June Lin, was just glossed over. And so Macy decided to do a topic just on that, focusing on that, which I really appreciated.
I couldn't even watch that documentary. I couldn't watch that one or the Dahmer. I wanted to, but I just couldn't go there.
The Evan Peters one,
Which one?
or a real documentary with
Oh,
Evan Peters.
I don't remember. It was the newer Dahmer. a series. Maybe was it? I think it was a documentary.
Yeah, I think that's with Evan Peters. I didn't watch it either, even though I have a really big crush on Evan Peters.
Oh,
So perpetrated by Luca Magnotta, this 11-minute video does not show the actual moment of death, but it shows everything else. And just to refresh everyone's memories, this guy, Magnotta, spent most of his life trying to become famous. He was in porn, he worked as an escort, he was on all these multiple reality shows, he even got plastic surgery to be more like whatever he thought would be more pleasing to make him a star. And when all this wasn't really working, and then there was mental health stuff going on, he turned to the internet and found notoriety doing these animal torture films. But then he filmed this piece, One Lunatic, One Ice Pick, this film, to a gore website in 2012. And it shows a perpetrator in a purple hoodie stabbing, dismembering, decapitating, and sodomizing a dead body that was later identified as student June Lin. And reports say that the police found an extended cut of the video that included cannibalism.
Whoa.
And so viewers did immediately notify the police, but the police at first dismissed it because they just thought it was a fake snuff hoax, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't until body parts were mailed out to local political parties that the police realized that it was real, and an international hunt took place, and Magnotta was finally arrested in Germany. Wasn't he found in an internet cafe or something, Macy?
It was an internet cafe,
Yeah.
And then and the remains, weren't they found? Was she the one that was in the hotel that they found it on the roof of the hotel, like that she was put inside a container on the roof of some kind? I forget what the container was.
No, this was a guy.
No, I know
that he went on a date with.
Oh, I was talking about the girl.
Part of it. Yeah, I don't remember about that part of it. I think part of this poor individual.
I'm gonna have to rewatch it.
Are you thinking Cecil Hotel, where the girl was found on the roof?
Oh, yes, I was thinking Cecil Hotel. Yeah, because we've
done. Oh, you're thinking Cecil Hotel. That's totally different.
Different topic.
That's with the elevator stuff.
Right. I watched that one. That was really interesting and creepy.
Completely.
Okay, different.
Fascinating though. Yeah, different murder. This was June Lin. This was where they went out on at least one date, maybe more, and then just a vicious, brutal, like worst nightmare, worst case scenario outcome. Wow. Just horrible. And the family had to really advocate for justice in this case, and they did say that there was probably some racist elements as well because he was Asian. So why is One Lunatic, One Ice Pick close to snuff? So it's because the murder is never shown on the video, and it was not sold for money, but for likes. So this really ties into so many of our topics, because Macy, you did that other one, anything for likes or something like that?
Yeah.
I mean, this is to the extreme.
My brain right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing to something. Oh my gosh.
Jet lag.
I think it was anything for less.
Something for less.
Something like that.
Anything
I'm sure it was amazing though.
Anything. Yeah, I don't. I haven't slept.
I haven't slept either, but I'm on my second wind. I brought wind back. Oh, can that be the name of our podcast?
Oh, you brought that wind back. Second wind. That's great.
Second wind.
Write it down, Sarah, because we'll forget.
Write it down.
I'm wondering how your collage is going to look after today's topic.
I'm on vacation. I'm going to have to figure out how to do a collage. I'm going to have to get some like newspapers from on the corner or something.
Creative.
Yeah, I don't have any glue stick. I don't have a scissors. I'll figure it out. I'm resourceful. So snuff films, there's actually no full real snuff films, even though everybody believes, including me, believes that
That's good
they're a
news.
thing.
I agree. I mean, that is good news.
Almost as good as finding out that a lot of the candy, people weren't messing with the candy.
Oh, the
right.
Halloween candy.
Yeah, like
was
it's
just
not
like
as
a huge-
prevalent as people are worried about. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's it.
Cool.
I don't even remember what my last topic was to like tell people to listen to it. I'm gonna have to
Oh
look
my
it up
gosh,
online.
what did we talk about? Oh yes, no, was that when I talked about
Mother
Mother
Shipton.
Shipton?
And
Yeah,
the
was yours Mother Shipton?
drag
Yeah.
their
Oh
band
yes, and I
directors.
talked about all this anti-trans, anti-drag legislation, and that law did go through in Tennessee. It's now a felony to do drag in public in Tennessee, which is horrifying. So if you're in your drag and you're driving to a drag show, you could be pulled over and arrested. It's scary. It's super scary. So if you didn't listen to our last episode, 178, do so because it's important. So Mother Shipton Soothsayer and the bans on drag throughout our country. And if you want to support us, please be our patron on Patreon. It's only $1 and you get access to exclusive content. Until next time, better out than in.
Until next time.
Farts are funny.
Parts are funny. Yes. Woo! Bye.
I didn't say one, guys. I didn't say
Oh,
one.
I thought you said farts are funny.
Sarah,
Well,
she
what do
said
you
bullshit.
Sorry, Macy, I blasted.
Thanks for snuffing me out.
Oh.
Bye.